You can tell a lot about an organization by the way it runs when a leader's not there. In good organizations, the leader holds the teams accountable. In great organizations, they hold each other accountable. And here's the thing, leadership is earned, it's not appointed. Managers are appointed while leaders emerge. Hello friends, I'm Matthew Dennar and this is The Corporate Pastor, a platform dedicated to helping pastors and church leaders bring practical leadership coaching to their passion and purpose. If you want to know more about me and my why, I'd encourage you to go check out my introduction video. In this video series, my goal is to bring hope to the leadership capability in you and your ministry. In this second video in the series, we're going to focus on the shepherd's staff, how to be an effective organizational leader. So many things you can say, so many great books on leadership, but I'd like to provide a few keys from my own experience in the ministry in corporate America. Let me start with a question for you around motivation. I have a great video of my best friend walking his dog Lee. Well, if that's what you want to call it. It reminds me of how many times we as leaders have to pull people along because we're not doing a great job of inspiring people, or we don't have the right people in the right roles. Are you having to constantly be creative for your media team? Or thinking of new ideas for improvements in the facilities area? Magic happens when you have the right people doing the right things with a hunger for continual improvement. I took Louie for a walk recently myself when they were out of town, and it was a very different experience. This is a beautiful experience of Louie leading me. He was stretching me as a leader, forcing me to keep up and steering his motivation and passion, not trying to create it. We have incredible people. All we need to do is provide some direction, stay out of their way, and watch the magic happen. Now, this is not a reflection on my buddy's leadership. He's actually an incredible leader. Louie just seems to like me better. So are you motivating your staff? Or are they motivated and you spend more energy steering and coaching them? Tom Brady in a video with Peyton Manning said, to be a great quarterback, you need three things: to think, to throw, and to lead. I would say the same thing for being a great leader in the ministry. You need to be able to think, to inspire, and to lead. This is what I believe it takes to lead. And you know I love acronyms, so let's have an acronym for LEAD. Listen, engage, advise, and demonstrate. Now let's talk about listening first. You need to listen with the intent to be influenced. None of us are as smart as all of us, and there wouldn't be a you without them. You've got to keep that in mind. As Toto Wolff, the team principal and CEO of Mercedes-AMG says, I cannot drive the car. I'm not able to design an aerodynamic surface, but I try to understand everything around the person who can. And I try to provide a framework for these individuals to perform at their best. It's best for you to ask a lot of questions with the posture of understanding. A lot of time, your answers are in the questions that you ask. Great leaders don't attack people, they attack problems. If you want to understand why something's broken or results aren't where they need to be in a particular area, ask questions to understand, not to critique. Questions that help you understand how to coach, not to gather data on how to correct. The essence of your job as a leader and as a coach is for you to inspire more through compelling than correcting. Lead yourself with your head, but lead others with your heart. You don't pay people just to sit and show up. You pay them to have an opinion and input. Leadership vulnerability makes that organizational connection. Where trust is present, explanations aren't even needed. The second point is engage. Engage in a way they feel supported authentically. Love is the big new leadership characteristic in action. Proverbs 20:28 says, good leadership is built on love and truth, for kindness and integrity are what keep leaders in their position of trust. You know, leadership is like a marriage. It's about seeking to understand. It's about how you can help more than it is about how you can get them to act more like you. How can you meld with them? Giving is the biggest attractive attribute of a spouse and a leader both. Gary Chapman wrote an incredible book called The 5 Love Languages, and I like to think about those 5 love languages with my team. Really, with anyone. I like to think about them as the 5 compelling cares. Understanding what's important to them and speaking their language to show I care, I truly care in a compelling way. Again, you motivate people through compelling them, not correcting them. Don't try to convince people, connect with people. I'm not saying there's no room for correction and time for correction, but that shouldn't be generally the way you lead. This is particularly important in a church as many people you are leading are volunteers. They're not being paid to be there. They're serving and they need to be compelled and inspired to continue to serve. You know, a seat at the table makes people feel included, but if you give them a voice then they feel like they belong. Brené Brown talks a lot about clarity and kindness. Clear is kind. And I like to take that a bit further to say kind is also caring. I'm not saying everyone needs to be coddled, but clear is certainly kind, and kind is certainly caring. It's a lot easier to have a direct discussion, even hard discussions, when someone knows you genuinely care. Trust is built by caring, and caring is built over time by your actions. My pastor, Pastor Eric Petrie, says whatever you recognize grows and whatever you ignore dies. That's a great thing to think about. A, advise. Advise in a way that coaches and develops people. Connect people with their passion. I once had an individual who worked for me. She was really struggling in the organization, and they gave her to me as her last resort. I found I was able to connect with her and connect her to her passion. And she was able to flourish in the company, still with the company today and doing incredible. It was really about finding her passion, which really brought out her best. Growing people is like growing plants. It's all about the ground you put them in, the amount of water, the seeds that you're planting, and all of that. Craig Rochelle says, as a leader, you can have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both. Unfortunately, not everyone has a growth mindset or is in a posture of positivity on the team. Be careful though. If you're going to assume the worst, you will certainly find the worst. The best strategy you can have is grow the best, because you've got some people that are absolutely the best, and transform the rest. You owe it to the entire team for them to grow, managing potential and performance. Think about your Gideons. What do you see in people they don't see in themselves? You need to grow your Gideons. How to find and develop your leaders. You need people that are deeply loyal to the mission, not just in words, but in action and culture. People that are driving the mission and not you trying to drive them in the mission. In my Heroes video, I talked about the importance of problem solving, communication, and influence skills. These would be great skills for you to grow in your staff as well. The last tool is demonstrate. Leadership is about lighting a fire within people, not lighting a fire under people. It was one of my favorite bosses in the company that said that. If you want them to be excellent, then you need to be excellent. Set an example that inspires people. What's better than someone getting it right all the time than someone who gets it wrong and admits and grows from it? Create this environment in your staff. We talked about guardrails for you in the Heroes video, and this is a great way to set more examples and lead the way for expectations of your staff. The strongest leaders tend to be highly adaptable with an uncanny ability to read the room and become whatever is needed in the moment. The number one characteristic you should look for when you're hiring your staff is character. Gifting is great, but we all know some very gifted leaders that didn't have the character needed to fulfill their destiny, and it resulted in moral failures. In your staff hiring, look for character first and gifting second. Do your interview questions drive what you're looking for? Character, compassion, passion, gifting, and discipline? Leaders need to be careful not to be blinded by impression and overlook impact. Are you having regular one-to-one meetings with your staff? You should be comparing them to the same standard of the people that you're trying to interview. Character, compassion, passion, gifting, and discipline. What impact are they having in these areas in your church? Just remember, Moses' staff is like a leader's staff. It's designed to strengthen and support. It is not an easy calling that you have, but it comes with a great reward as you walk it out. And I'm here to walk it out with you in any way that I can. You can reach me at thecorporatepastor@gmail.com. Thank you so much for what you're doing for God, for the body of Christ, and for the lost. Until we connect again, I pray peace, purpose, potential, and prosperity over you and your ministry. Be blessed and be a blessing.